Testing, testing. Hey, Millennial. Hey, North. Kira. All right, we're gonna get started shortly. Hey, Dan, I timestamped some of the. Yes, I saw that. Thank you. A party in the. All right, let me get going on TikTok. Okay. Live on TikTok right now. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hey, KP. You just start? Yep, just started. Welcome in, everybody. We're gonna take it easy tonight. We're gonna react to the second debate from Texas's 18th district. This is the special election that Isaiah Martin's running in. This debate will also have Republicans, including a former advisor to Donald Trump, Carter Page. Hey, everybody. Good to see you too, Ludus. Welcome in, everybody. All right, we're gonna get right to it. Damn, Terry Brown came back. Hey, so Terry, you're in one of two places. Either you're really old and you're going to be able to use that 401k soon, in which case, yeah, old rich people do benefit from a Trump presidency, or you're being very myopic and you don't understand that whatever you have in the stock market right now is not going to balance out the increase to your cost of living, the increase to your healthcare costs, the fact that we're soon to be experiencing stagflation. So it's one of the two. It's either you're old and evil or you're young and stupid and evil. So, okay. We are going to get started. Hey, Dustin. You're in no position to know any of that? Okay. Well, how about come up and tell me why your 401k being up is more important than your health care and your cost of living, your quality of life, and the state of democracy and human rights. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome up.
Yeah, 401k is doing great. Healthcare is about $300 every paycheck.
Yep, it's going up.
Fine.
It's going up.
It's going up. You don't know that.
No, well, no, I don't know that, but
No,
we
you don't
we
know
have
that.
we have an analysis from pretty much every health insurance company is saying that it's going to go up. It's not even like contested.
Yeah, that's an opinion.
Here.
But what the fact is, my retirement all-time high.
Wait, I'm sorry. Just so we're clear, if the healthcare companies are putting their estimates and the estimates are already higher, how is that an opinion? Whose opinion is that?
What are the healthcare stocks doing right now? Are they up or down?
They're up. Everything's up. What do you?
Why
Yes,
is that?
they're making record profits. Yes, I don't know why that's shocking to you.
Is that because people are projecting that they're going to go down soon?
Say that again.
What? Stock market's a leading indicator, bro.
Stock market's
That
leading
means we're
indicator.
headed.
Oh wait. Oh, okay. So when the stock market was an all-time high at the end of Biden's term, you were really pro-Biden, I imagine, right?
Sure, absolutely. My retirement was looking great there too.
Yes, and you voted for Biden again?
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Why didn't I vote for him?
No, yeah. If the stock market's a leading indicator, bro, it was at all-time highs.
All-time highs, absolutely. But I'm not a one-issue voter. But hey, you know what? Trump was supposed to be the end of democracy, right? Guess not.
Why are you saying guess not as if?
Well, I mean, the leading indicators are even higher. They're even better.
You know the stock market and democracy aren't related to each other. But
well, the stock market's a leading indicator. It tells you where we're headed, which is higher and better.
Okay. Just so we're clear. So if the stock market keeps going up, but we're no longer allowed to vote, we're still a democracy?
Who said you're not allowed to vote?
I don't think you know what a democracy is because you just said,
okay.
I thought this was going to be the end of democracy, but look, the stock market's up. Like,
who said end of democracy? You or me?
You said that.
No, I didn't. What are you talking about?
What did you say a minute ago about democracy?
I didn't say anything about it. I said 401ks are at an all-time high.
Oh, okay. We're live on YouTube. I could just roll it back. Like, you think you're just going to gaslight me?
Go ahead, roll it back. I didn't say the end of democracy. I didn't say that at all.
Okay.
Run it back. Please run it back. Please.
Yeah,
I beg you.
I'm running it back right now.
Go ahead. Are you going to apologize?
Are you?
Are you going to apologize? 100%. If I said
okay, can you're going to have to mute so we can watch it. Wait, can you just collect your emotions for a second?
The end of democracy? I didn't say that at all.
Okay. Going up, but we're no longer allowed to.
I'm not a one-issue voter, but hey, you know what? Trump was supposed to be the end of democracy, right?
Where's my apology?
I said Trump was supposed to be the end of democracy, question mark? As in he wasn't.
You brought up the end of democracy. Hold on. Wait.
No, you're going to ignore the context of what I said? That's
what
hilarious.
Did you just say? Hold on.
I said Trump was the end of democracy?
But
that was
I don't think. Wait. Stop talking. Shut the fuck up. Just relax.
Play it again. Play it again. Play it again. Play it again. Who said you're not allowed to vote?
I don't think you know what a democracy is because you just said, I thought this was going to be the end of democracy, but look, the stock market's up. Like,
who said end of democracy?
You did. Okay, you're gaslighting. I don't talk to gaslighters.
You said
I really hope you have the life you deserve.
What are you talking about?
What did you say a minute ago? This is where we're at. Like, reality will smack them in the face, and it won't matter. It won't matter as long as Daddy Trump is egg whiting down their throats. Like, absolutely insane. Disconnected? Yeah, Terry, I'm not talking to a gaslighter. Why? You think we have time in 2025? I wouldn't talk to a gaslighter. I can play Mario right now. Why would I talk to a liar? Like, you're just a liar. You came up, lied. We debunked your lie. You lied about what we just saw. I'm good on that. Just go drive your car and look at a red light and drive straight through it because it must be green. You ran away, play it again. No, Terry. I have lost all. I don't care. I don't care. You can go make a video, say I debunked Dan Malik. I don't care. We just watched it. We watched it. There's nothing more to do here. We watched it in real time. We watched it. You lied. We showed you lying. You lied about lying. I kicked you, and now you're cashing out. Just go put a dick in. I'm gonna before I say something mean, we're gonna go back to what we're doing. Us could be on fire, sprinklers on, nice weather today. I love that he asked if I was going to apologize, and then when I played it, not only was there not an apology, he just lied. Are a Dem or a leftist? I am whatever Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is. Trump taught them they can literally say anything and people will believe it. No, literally. Wait, this just happened. Like yesterday, a judge blocked Donald Trump cutting funding to New York City. A judge blocked it, and then he tweeted out, "I am making sure New York City gets the funds they need." Like it literally, like they're just testing whatever. What can we do right in front of their eyes, and they'll just believe it? It's apparent you don't like making money. It's a mother or father. Is that what you're saying, Terry? It's apparent you don't like making money, Terry. It's apparent to me that you are like a psychopath. Like you're a bad person, and you chose to come up and rather than you could have spoke to, honestly, you could have spoke to the stock market being at all time highs. You could have, but you needed to manipulate the situation. So just eat shit. Like what else am I supposed to say? Like I hope you have the life you deserve. You're allergic to making money. You literally said that Joe Biden was posting all-time highs in the stock market, but you didn't vote for Joe Biden. So you debunked yourself. You didn't vote for him because you knew the stock market was going to go up. You voted for him because you're a racist, misogynist, Nazi, or child molester. It's one of the four. It's always one of the four. It's never not one of the four. You're allergic to being a good person. Run it back. You ran away. Terry, you go do it on your own time. Well, like, you really think you're going to get any more of our time? In fact, we're moving on. Okay.
Hello?
Hi, welcome up.
Hey. I see we're talking about Isaiah Martin. He's one of my favorite sorry. He's one of my favorite people that are running for the House now. He's a great person. He reminds me a lot of Zoran Mamdani. He's really big on not just the social safety net, but in a lot of his policies that he wants to try and sorry, I'm trying to read and do something else at the same time.
You're
Um,
good, man. We're gonna watch the debate, and we'll you don't have to. He'll make his own case. We're big Isaiah fans here.
watched it?
What's up?
I see you guys haven't watched the debate yet.
No, not the new one. We're about to.
Cool.
We were going to, but we were rudely interrupted by Terry.
I actually didn't even see too much of him, which is great because he sounded like he just wasn't paying attention at all.
Terry, you put the suck in success. All right, man. Thanks for coming up. Why is Terry pocket watching? Terry. I wonder if his parents knew that they were going to be naming him after the tear that he puts in his scrote every time he bends over backwards to defend Donald Trump. Wild. Okay, we're going to watch the debate. Go. Terry, more like terrible. When you're a Walmart greeter, remember me, please. All right. Terry, I don't know if you know this, but hating on the pores doesn't make you look cool online. I know it makes you look cool in the Reddits that you frequent, right? I know the Groypers probably really love shit like that, but here in the United States, most people aren't wealthy. Harry probably hates his own last name. That's a good one. I know of another Terry that would hate to be sharing a name with this guy. What time does it start? No, it's not live. We're gonna watch it right now.
And 5 years into this thing, I have seen so much. But one of the things that I'm excited about seeing is our youth being involved. There's a quote that I love, and it says, "The best way to predict the future."
Unfortunately, captions are not available for some reason on this video. So
is to create it. And what we're doing here today is creating
Terry's being a good little boy and keeping the engagement up so we stay on the front page. Thank you, Terry.
Our future by setting our youth up in a place to understand the civic engagement process, not only for them to get engaged by asking questions, but one day potentially standing up here answering questions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome and bring to the stage our future candidates that, of course, will represent us in the Congressional 18th District. First and foremost, we have Amanda K. Edwards. Coming up next, we have George Foreman IV. Incoming next is State Representative Jolanda Jones. Coming in hot, we have Isaiah Martin. Right after Mr. Isaiah, we have Mr. Christian Menifee. Following Mr. Menifee, we have Ms. Carmen Maria Montiel. Following Ms. Montiel, we have Mr. Carter Page.
For those of you that name sounds familiar, it is Carter Page used to work in the Trump administration.
And last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Tammy Rochester. Let's please give all of our amazing candidates a round of applause. They look amazing, and of course, we have a few house rules that we want to cover before anything because we are nothing without rules, aren't we? So we're going to follow these rules to the T because I have been positioned to do so. And so our rules are simple and as follows. The debate will follow a question and answer format with timed responses. Candidates will also be asked additional questions in a lightning round segment. The primary topics for candidates' questions were based on a youth poll. All candidates will have the opportunity to answer each question. The speaking order has already been determined by a random drawing of candidate names conducted by the teams. Candidates will be given 1 minute to make opening and closing statements and to answer each question. The candidate's closing statement should be significantly related to the matters discussed previously. There will be no rebuttals allowed. Time limits will be strictly observed to ensure equity and to stay within the scheduled debate time frame. The timekeeper will hold up a yellow sign to indicate 30 seconds left and a red sign to indicate time is now over for you to speak. We also will hold our applause as an audience until the end of the debate to maximize time for questions, and candidates are also allowed to use your electronic devices during the debate. The debate will be recorded and live streamed by KTSU and The Vibe.
Okay, Dan, I went to at you and I accidentally unfollowed you. So if you see that I refollowed you, it was a mistake. Sorry.
The recordings will be made available online. The debate cannot otherwise be recorded or reused.
It was what an very.
We'll have Mr. Carter Page.
Good morning. We're very excited for this opportunity to speak with you. It was what an amazing introduction by the members of your congregation and the team at Jack and Jill. It was really a true contrast to some of the major challenges and conflicts we see in the national government and in the national media right now. What I am running for, I have worked in and around Houston throughout the last quarter of a century for over 25 years. I'm primarily, in most of my career, I've worked on energy issues, working closely with some of the leaders in right here in the 18th Congressional District, including George P. Mitchell, who was the individual who launched and innovated fracking, which has been a major driver. I've worked on serious policy issues in this context for a long time.
Thank you, Mr. Page. That's
thank
now
you.
time.
Dehydrated Jeff Bezos.
We will now hear from Ms. Carmen Maria Montiel.
Thank you. Well, it's a pleasure for me to be here with you today, especially when we're addressing ourselves to the youth, our future, the most important people, and the people what we're doing, what we are running for office to preserve this country for you. I have been a Houstonian since 1991. My children were born and raised here. I have occupied position as a reporter in the news, anchor woman. I worked in healthcare for 20 years, and now I'm a real estate broker. I know the district back and forth. I know John Anderson in Fiesta 23. I know community leaders like Gladys House, who has also endorsed me. Why? Because they see me in the district. They know I know the issues. They know we need a change after 30 years of do nothing. So that's why I will ask you to put attention to my proposal, and let's change the district and improve Houston the way it deserves to be improved, to be in the fourth rightfully place as the largest city in the nation.
Thank you, Ms. Montiel. We will now hear from Mr. Foreman.
Good morning. And thank you to the Jack and Jill community, parents, and students for having me here. It's an honor to be here with you. I'm a preacher and a teacher right here from Houston, Texas. I was born in the 18th. Went to school in the 18th, 2 degrees from Texas Southern University. And I started my own business, Foreman and Associates, amongst many others, right here in the 18th District. So it's an honor to be here and represent what the future can hold for us. When I say us, I mean we, the people of the United States of America. When we're born here or become naturalized, we are given a role and an identity. U.S. citizen. You're free. The right to determine your future, how you want to vote, how you want to live, and how you want to raise your children. And I'm here to represent that mentality, and more than anything, to bring education as a priority, progress as a priority, and equality as a priority. Thank you for the opportunity.
We will now hear from Ms. Edwards.
Good morning. My name is Amanda Edwards, and I'm your former at-large Houston City Council member, now running to be the next Congresswoman for this 18th Congressional District. I was born, raised, and I still live in this district, and what happens here is personal to me. I am a product of public high school, went on to Emory and then Harvard before becoming a public finance attorney to work in this community and bringing public dollars to public projects. I then went on to serve as one of your at-large Houston City Council members. It was then where I tried to forge a path for our future, one in which our community could be a part of the innovation economy. And so I led the city's efforts in doing so. I also led efforts to make sure that our entrepreneurs and our students who wanted to become entrepreneurs would have an access and a pathway to get there as well. We are standing at a crossroads in our nation, and we need leaders who are unafraid to stand up against the policies that are being promoted by Trump, but also someone who can forge a path for our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. We will now hear from Mr. Menifee.
Good Good morning. I'm Christian Menifee, and I'm running for Congress in the 18th Congressional District because it was a thoughtful, a compassionate, a helpful government that gave me my fair shot at the American dream. I grew up on government programs like WIC, like free lunch in our public schools, like a Pell Grant, like my parents' military insurance, which ensured that my brother beat cancer. But if it were not for government programs, you would have never seen me being the youngest person and the first African-American elected Harris County attorney. My family sent more people to prison than to college, and I believe in a smart government that's going to help the next kid be able to achieve the next thing. Out of everybody standing up here, I'm the only person on this stage, and as Harris County attorney, I have fought and beat Donald Trump time after time again. I have fought and beat Greg Abbott to protect our voting rights, to stand up for our health care. I'm not selling you a product of something that I have not done before. I have been doing the work as Harris County attorney, and I believe that the legacy of this seat is a fighter. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee was a fighter who carried the torch, and I plan to continue that legacy as your next member of Congress. Christian Menifee, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Menifee. We will now hear from Mrs. Jones.
My name is Jolanda Jones. I'm the state representative from House District 147. You in House District 147, and I'm from 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas. Let me tell you, I just got back from the corn break. Y'all may have seen me. I was running from the FBI when the governor and the president were trying to arrest us because I was trying to stop them from stealing black seats in Texas. You should also know that I'm not new to the game, or I am true to the game when it comes to Jack and Jill and youth. I literally have worked with Jack and Jill. If you look at my social media at Jolanda Jones on Instagram, you will see where I spoke 2 kids from Jack and Jill just last October and gave 2 kids from Jack because kids are important. I am a product of the success and failure of government programs. My father, a veteran, didn't get sufficient health care after Vietnam. He killed himself. I was with him when he did it. I'm a product of free and reduced lunch, and I will never forget where I come from. I will always fight for you. Congressman Craig Washington has endorsed me. He is a former CD18 person. I think that he's here. In any case, my name is Jolanda Jones, and when you from 3rd Ward, you know I'm going to fight for you.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. We will now hear from Mr. Martin.
Well, how's it going, everybody? I'm Isaiah Martin, and I'm Congresswoman Jackson-Lee's former senior advisor, and I'm running for Congress because ultimately I got sick of the moron president we have in Washington, D.C. I mean, we got to get a lot more folks that are ready to stand up and fight back against what we see in Washington. I'm running for Congress to go and make America more affordable, to guarantee health care and child care for every single person in this country, to wipe out medical debt, to make sure that you do not have to have these ridiculous medical bills, to build millions of homes all across this country, thousands of which right here in the 18th Congressional District, so that when you want to go out and buy your first home, it can be a lot more affordable. I'm a product of Jack and Jill. I grew up in the Bay Area chapter right down the road, and now, ultimately, I want to take those same lessons, that same fight to Washington, D.C., to win for you in Washington in an era in which it seems as if a lot of folks don't want to stand up to this president. Ready to fight, ready to work.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. We will now hear from Mrs. Rochester.
Good morning. My name is Tammy Rochester. I am a licensed social worker in the state of Texas for over 20 years. I have experience with various state agencies. I have direct community service with our people in the 18th district, not just when there is an election. I am there on a daily basis. And what I see is continued social issues in our community. The people are tired. We the people, we want a change, and we are tired of being thrown under the bus. We want real solutions to real problems and hold our leaders accountable. We're tired of the economic disparities. We want our women to have rights again. We need to fight a foster care system that is failing our kids. So I say to you today, we the people are gonna get the change.
Thank you to each of our candidates. Can we give them another big round of applause collectively? That now completes our opening statements portion of today. Again, audience, we ask that you please hold all applause until the end, please. I know it's going to be hard, but let's follow that procedure there. We are now moving to our question and response portion of today's event. You all will be asked a series of questions. Each candidate will have an opportunity to speak. You have 1 minute to answer the question. How long do we have? 1 minute. You will see those signs go up when you have 30 seconds left. Can we show them what that sign looks like right there? That beautiful yellow sign. And then you will see this big, beautiful red sign when it is indicating time to stop. All right, we will move on, and we will go in the same rotation in which you all have delivered your opening remarks. The first question will be on gun violence and school safety. What should the government do to reduce gun violence in schools and nearby areas while making sure students feel safe and supported?
Thank you. I just lost a friend within the last week or so, a gentleman by the name of Charlie Kirk. He was a supporter of mine and someone who dealt with serious issues and injustices that I have dealt with with the federal government and some of those problems. Unfortunately, the nature of the dialogue in this country has shown a big step backwards, and it has only gotten worse recently. So my approach is to try to, through a wide range of programs, try to have better cooperation.
Didn't the question mention children? And he brought up Charlie Kirk? As a reminder, this guy worked in the Trump administration, so obviously.
Both within
the only thing people in the Trump administration care about in regards to kids are TOS.
in our government, with our communities, but also protect our constitutional rights. So that is a very delicate balance, but what we have seen through my friend Charlie and others is that it's just, and as we've seen throughout Houston with many of the constituents, it's a major problem that we need to address. Thank you.
I believe our children and our youth are the most important thing and the one where we should spend money to protect them. That's what I believe. There should be more security in the schools and college with armed guards to protect them.
So Republican number 1 brings up Charlie Kirk instead of talking about kids. Republican number 2, we need armed guards in our schools.
I believe we need to invest in mental health because that's the major problem that is triggering, gun violence. We need to stop the hate and the lies. Lies like saying that the people that are in our administration are racist, are fascists, and all this name calling is just initiating and activating the hate that end up in cases like the case of Charlie Kirk. We need to stop the line, just working together for the benefit of the whole country, for the benefit of District 18, and investing in protecting our children, our students. But we should never lose our Second Right Amendment because it's a God-given right to protect our lives and the lives of others. Thank you.
As a teacher, I go to school, I walk my students in, I see them go through their metal security, and they're frustrated. As a preacher, I can't believe it in my lifetime I've seen churches shot up. And this seems like something out of a civil rights movie that should be in black and white, but this is the reality of our culture. And I think if we're going to change that, it needs to start with a cultural change. Now, I'm also a preacher at the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ, and while I talk often about the rights that we have as Americans, I also have to make sure that we send children out in the world to know how to speak kindness and love into the world around them. Now, I think there's an issue in culture in our society that there was even a great philosopher, shot and killed, Martin Luther King, who had a philosophy of nonviolence. And he knew that he had to be intentional about preaching that philosophy. Otherwise, violence would reign. So I think that we're in a cultural moment. That's why I'm representing bold leadership in a great American movement to try to change our culture in a better direction that's not based on hate.
Leadership is about having courage. And part of that courage means standing up against entities like the NRA and passing gun sense policies that make sense for our communities and keep our families safe from gun violence. I am proud to say that I have been recognized as a gun sense candidate by the Moms Demand Action because of my stances on gun sense policies that protect families and children from gun violence. Our family, when I was growing up, I had gun violence in my family. So I take it personally that we protect our communities, protect them by putting into place what's called red flag policies and preventing people who are at risk or at a higher risk at harming people or themselves from having guns. We have got to get out of the business of handing sharpshooter guns and then being appalled when they use them. We are in the space and place where policy making is what can be the difference between life and death for our kids. When I was in high school, Columbine happened, and very little has changed since. We must do better to protect our kids.
We have to be honest about the conversation that we're having. Across this country, we are seeing kids who are being slaughtered in schools. Every single day when I go drop my boys off at school, I think to myself, what if today is one of those days? And despite that fact, every single time there's an opportunity to pass meaningful gun legislation in this country, we hear people who are more focused on Charlie Kirk, who was not a student when he passed, as opposed to the many, many black and brown kids across this country who have been the victims of gun violence. We need to have a serious conversation about reforming our laws. I believe in banning assault weapons, on limiting high-capacity magazines. I want to stop the gun show loophole, and that's why as county attorney, I got involved in a legal action to get ghost guns off the street. We need to be about action. The time for conversation is over. Our kids are literally dying. It's time to take meaningful steps towards passing gun reform right now and get guns off the street.
Again, I'm a survivor of gun violence. My dad and two of his brothers committed suicide. My brother was murdered. My aunt was murdered. Many of my cousins were murdered. I've been shot at. Let me be clear. Guns need to be off of the street. But I'm not just worried about mass shootings, which when Marjorie Stoneman Douglas happened, I actually was hired by March for Our Lives to go to D.C. and represent those kids when they did a die-in on the west lawn of the White House. I'm very, very, very proud of that. But I will also say that I believe in better background checks, red flag laws. We need to raise the age to 21. We need to close loopholes. We need to ban ghost guns and bump stocks. We need to end permitless carry. And I was proud to say that I voted against the ownership of sawed-off shotguns in Texas, which they voted on just this legislative session. I will do all that I can do to get rid of mass shootings and gun violence on the streets that affect us, because that is important to me, because I'm a survivor of gun violence. And had we not had so many guns on the street, my dad, my uncles, my aunt, my brother would probably be alive. Thank you. And I've got to leave because I'm a special guest of Vice President Kamala Harris. She's in town, so my apologies right now.
Mr. Martin.
Damn, the name drop.
First off, Donald Trump is a fascist, and I'm not going to be scared away from saying that. But I think what we need to be talking about is the fact that every single time we have one of these mass shooting events, we always hear thoughts and prayers from Republicans, because it's been Republicans that have blocked literally every major issue regarding this issue. So I hope you guys would join in on the fight to not just go what you normally do, which is defund mental health programs consistently, like what happened after the Santa Fe shooting, like what happened particularly after the Uvalde shooting. I hope that you guys actually support more funding for mental health, actually going to go put mandatory background checks in place, absolutely supporting an assault weapons ban in this country, just as Bill Clinton did in the 1990s. But I think that if we really want to get this done, we got to talk about the elephant in the room. The NRA is what stops them from being able to go and actually go past real policies. We need to ban all outside money in politics to bankrupt the NRA, to stop them in their reign of terror. We also have to be proactive in that. I support getting rid of the filibuster, particularly in the U.S. Senate, so we can actually get these policies done and passed in this Congress.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
I grew up in the lower Fifth Ward area, and I saw too often of what guns can do in unintentional death of our children. I saw in the foster care system where we had kids that come into the system because guns were not kept safe in their home. I propose that we have, the citizens have to have permits, I suppose, criminal history check for people with mental illness. We should not have kids that do not feel safe in their schools. I went and visited a young teenage girl that said she stopped going to school because she feared school. She didn't feel safe. It's time for us to take a stand and protect our kids and protect our families.
Thank you. You will now receive your second question from our Teen Haley here, and we will start with Miss Amanda and work our way down.
What should Congress do when people like Jimmy Kimmel get suspended and there are concerns about free speech, censorship, and companies controlling the media?
You know, one of the things that I think we have heard come out in the most recent times with this Charlie Kirk death is free speech. But free speech has been an issue that we have been facing and dealing with and grappling with for years. We have got to protect our students on campus for having free speech. That is a constitutional right to us. But then also we have got to make sure that we are putting into place safeguards, that our campuses are not extending abuses of that power and infringing on the free speech of the students and people in our next generation. It's critical. When I was a student in college, a lot of things were happening, race-based controversies, etc. But freedom of speech was always paramount and important, and we've got to make sure that those rights are protected.
I actually just finished my second degree at Texas Southern University, and one of the great honors that I had to do in my research was to look closely at what our founding fathers, but also what our former elected officials here had to deal with in their representative times, their respective times. And free speech consistently has been the key to victory of any policy, any party, or any people who feels oppressed. Now, that might hurt to hear sometimes when you have to listen to somebody who you feel differently from speak freely, but I think it's an essential part of our society. So I think we need to double down on whatever we think free speech protection is, primarily with safe spaces for free speech, where you put your guns away. College campuses absolutely should be one of those places. Safe spaces where you know children are present, so guns go away. Where liquor is being sold, you know guns go away. This is a culture issue about our society. The free speech should never be touched. I don't care who.
I was in law school in 2012 when Trayvon Martin was murdered, and I remember very vividly there being people saying he shouldn't have been wearing a hoodie. He shouldn't have been in that neighborhood at night. And think of all the people you remember, including prominent people, when George Floyd was murdered, who had plenty to say about him and about his life and about why maybe he deserved what happened to him. The difference between then and now is you did not see the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States, taking action against those people. But now, all of a sudden, when it is an extreme conservative who is killed, it's the President of the United States who's putting his finger on the scale to try to harm people who are just voicing their opinion. Look, I believe the President of the United States needs to be investigated on this issue. We saw what the FCC did, and we know exactly who the head of the FCC reports to. That's why I want to serve on the Oversight Committee when I get to Congress. The President has time and time again stepped outside of the bounds of the Constitution and the law, and the job of Congress, as the question was, is to hold the President accountable. That's the entire purpose of the Oversight Committee, the Judiciary Committee, and when I go to Congress, I will be active in holding Donald Trump accountable.
Donald Trump does not give a rat's tail about free speech. It's very clear. He's coming after every single one of us. He's coming after our kids. He's looking after everything we have. They're pressuring private sector companies and everything else. My name is Isaiah Martin, and that I stands for investigation. I can tell you that. I want to investigate the heck out of him every single place we look. I want to be on that oversight committee, to be a vocal member, to go not just look at what's going on at the White House, but I want to go through every single one of these government agencies that are currently looking to go put their thumb on that scale to go and investigate our kids. It's happening at all of our colleges across this country. We need to be relentless in this fight. In addition to that, I also support working with our private sector allies to go build a stronger legal defense fund to go defend people when these Republicans come after our kids. We cannot tolerate that, and we need to build up our defense to protect our kids from this Republican attack on free speech.
I would like to address a few issues that Mr. Barton mentioned, and it actually comes directly, it's a tie between these two questions.
Get ready for some bullshit.
A lot of the attacks that I personally went through were based on complete falsehoods. And I believe many of the things you are hearing in terms of calling Donald Trump a fascist is only further exacerbating the very harsh tone and really creating the nature that it leads to this challenge. So unfortunately, this goes directly to legislation. We need to be very careful in terms of creating legislation that protects people. One of the major reasons which inspired me to run is that Sheila Jackson Lee, as a member of the House Judiciary Committee for decades, fought for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. That relates to illegal spying that was done both against Dr. Martin Luther King and myself, and I'd look forward to speaking more with you about that, because that's key.
Thank you.
I do believe in free speech, but I believe there's a limit. And there's a limit when it comes to cyber bulleting. This is where we allow social media to put our kids at risk and harm of things such as spreading rumors, photos, and all kind of offensive things that cause our kids to have mental illness. I think that we should have a little bit control of free speech. And I think that our duopoly is a power struggle. We need to now be more focused on the people and protecting our citizens and our children.
Really quick, remember when Carter Page said that calling Trump a fascist is what's causing the divide? Like, imagine calling somebody a fascist as they're doing fascist things being worse than calling the entire other party the party of Satan. Satan! This is the president of the United States. Like Republicans could maybe get away with the gaslighting if he didn't make it so obvious.
Well, I thought this question was about free speech. And indeed, I protect free speech. We all should be able to have the freedom to speech. It's one of the things that I most admire in United States when I first came as a student in 1988. This is not about Trump. This is about you. This is about what we are going to do for you for District 18. And we all should have the freedom to speak our mind and do not be killed. And
so the person asked the question, the resident of the 18th district asks the question, and she says, this isn't about that question, and just changes the subject. Or like
what incites aggression is the name calling, is the aggressive movement of certain people when they talk, and that's what I have to move my position because I no longer felt safe. So we all should be free. Movement, agree to speak our mind and do not be killed. And what incites aggression is the name calling, is the aggressive movement of certain people when they talk.
She's looking at somebody. Aggressive movement of certain people when they talk? What are we talking?
And that's what I have to move my position because I no longer felt safe. So we all should be free to speak.
Wait, did she change her position in the debate? Has Isaiah posted about this at all? What? There we go. Posting clips. Who is she? She is former Miss Venezuela running for the Republican nomination.
As we want and have the safety to do so. And if arms are taken away from us, it's going to happen like Venezuela.
If arms are taken away from us, you just said that you moved away from someone else because their arms were getting in the way. Huh.
like Germany, when the people were no longer able to protect themselves against a dictatorship. Thank you.
I'm so threatening.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was, wait, I'm so threatening. Was it Isaiah?
A dictatorship. Thank you.
I'm so threatening.
So she's saying that because Isaiah speaks with his hands, she felt threatened and had to move. Wait, is that why she's all the way? Hold on. Where was she at the start of the debate? Okay, chat, we're at 1 hour and 3 minutes. She was next to Isaiah, and then she moved the first chance she got. Yeah, what Emmy said. She moved where the candidate that left because she had an engagement with Vice President Harris. He and him have had beef for a while too. Wait, Char, do you have any tea that you can spill? Because I am all ears. That it was the way she said that was giving yeah.
They look amazing, and of course,
We all should be free to speak as we want and have the safety to do so. And if arms are taken away from us, it's going to happen like Venezuela, like Germany, when the people were no longer able to protect themselves against a dictatorship. Thank you.
I'm so threatening.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next question will come from Team Sammy. We will begin with Mr. Foreman.
What role do you believe Congress should play in addressing mental health issues among teens, including those related to stress and exposure to violence?
So when my family took ill, I had to sometimes be the problem solver. And so I built a company that was based on healthcare advisory services. So primarily Medicare, but expanding onto that, how we treat veterans, people with special needs, and of course how Medicaid is funded and managed. So there's a lot of administrative work that can be done to solve some of the lack of care for mentally ill individuals and those who need additional help. Now I also work in the school where I see how ADHD, dyslexia, compulsions of attitude, trauma reflect in the classroom. So there's a lot of mental health services that we could do for children to address some of the the obstacles that prevent them growing in the opportunities that we give to them. So to me, it starts with healthcare administration to solve a lot of things. The money is there, the resources are there, but how are they properly administered to make sure that they're helping the people who have the most adversity, especially with mental health?
I think it's okay, so everyone that watches me already knows this, so this is kind of, I guess, preaching to the choir, but it's like, these are all really, really good questions, and it's almost like Republicans are kind of disqualified from answering these questions. So we had a question about free speech, and specifically in relation to the administration pressuring the firing of Jimmy Kimmel for words he said, right? We had a question about free speech. What's the Republicans' answer? Well, it's Donald Trump doing it, so don't even worry about it. We had a question about how to protect children in schools from mass shootings. What are the Republicans' answers? Oh, armed guards, or actually Charlie Kirk is the real victim. That was their answers. We have now a question about mental health care. What are the Republicans going to say? Well, people should have access to mental health care because they're not going to fund anything ever. The party is defunding health care. Every single question that anyone could ask, what can Republicans even answer other than either a lie or just nothing? Because they don't want to solve any of these problems. They don't govern. Unless one of the questions comes up that's like, hey, how are you going to benefit the top 1%? Then they'll be like, oh, all right, I prepared for this one. You know? They literally can't say shit. Their leader is defunding it and then blaming gun violence on it. Yeah, it's like, how are you going to solve gun violence? We're not. How are you going to solve mental health care? We're not. How are you going to protect freedom of speech? We're not. It's wild to me that this is still a party in this country that can win an election. Absolutely insane. Like the guy, remember the guy with the upside down boot on his head? Like that guy's more qualified to answer these questions by a lot.
I think the world is greatly different now, and Congress should be doing every single thing it can to protect our kids and to invest in them. When I was coming up in public school, you get into a fight, you win, you lose, only about 30 people see it, you go on to live another day. But now, you lose a fight, somebody records it and puts it on the internet, that thing can follow you for the rest of your life. You make a bad decision, somebody records it and puts it on the internet, it can follow you for the rest of your life. I think Congress needs to be intentional about regulating cyberbullying that is going on in this country. But more importantly, given the increased access to social media and all the pressures that come with it, and all of the comparisons with other folks that come with it, I think we need to make sure that our students have more access to mental health treatment, that they can get in front of a therapist to be able to have conversations, to express how they're feeling about living in this new environment. I do not envy the students in the room who have to exist in this new environment, but I think that Congress should be supporting you financially to make sure you have what you need to make it through the day.
I'm so threatening, am I, Carmen? Real threatening, I guess. I think it's interesting. But look, ultimately, what we see in this country is that so many students feel in this new era very alone right now. If you go to the University of Houston, Texas Southern, it takes a very long time to go get access to a counseling appointment. One of the things that I want to support is something that I call the For the Students Act, that will create billions of dollars of federal grant funding that will be available for universities, colleges, as well as our high schools to go and really go and revolutionize in terms of our mental health abilities. We have to do that a lot more. In addition to that, I also support guaranteed health care across this country, which also will cover mental health, to make sure that even in your adult life, you will be able to go get treatment as well. I believe that the federal government has a responsibility to act on this issue to go and really make a big difference in people's lives.
I largely agree with everything that Christian Menefee said. I believe there definitely needs to be more support, and I've been very engaged in this, having worked the last several years in Texas state government. I believe there are many programs that are already being rolled out, and I think as alluded to, better management and better execution of the policies and the laws that are on the book, plus additional funding. I believe this is absolutely a key priority. And again, but I believe the community's sort of approach and a better public-private partnerships can really make a huge difference in this regard. So I think this is an ongoing issue and one where we can really make a difference. So thank you. I think this is a critically essential point.
So, as a reminder, this guy worked in the Trump administration. He's a ghoul, like all of them. For the people asking if this is a primary or general debate, I'm pretty sure this special election is going to be held with all of the candidates. And then if no candidate gets over 50%, there's going to be a runoff of the top two candidates. Was there an answer in there? No, absolutely not.
When we talk about mental health, first we need to talk about health care. And I propose that we get more government funding for our healthcare system. We need better access to mental health facilities, and we also need more qualified professionals. Our youth are coming from Harvey. We're coming from COVID situation, climate change. We have all these issues and social problems coming up that put our youth at so much risk for all these different mental health diagnoses. The first thing that we need to do, we need to activate Congress to provide more of the resources and the funding for our healthcare system.
Mental health has become an epidemic because our system has changed. Children are no longer allowed to be children. Our youth are no longer allowed to enjoy their youth. Recess has been shortened to a point that there is almost no recess. And I remember when I grew up, there was 30 minutes every time. So we went outside, we played until we got tired.
Democrats are talking about funding mental health care, in some cases universal health care, like what Isaiah mentioned. Republicans, first guy, word salad, and she's talking about extending recess. Like, I swear, literally, can Republicans do anything about solving a problem? It's like, hey, maybe less guns, armed guards in our schools, maybe some mental health care, more recess.
We cannot expect for a child to be seated for 8 hours and expect that that kid is going to behave perfectly. Then they're spending too much time in this, and COVID, the worst for our children. No longer our children are enjoying relationship and talking to people and feeling the warmth on people, and that's what we need to invest on. We need to invest in mental health, and we need to invest in getting back to be into the community and to our families and to giving love and warmth to our children and our youth.
It's ironic that as we stand here on this stage, our government is shut down because our government does not want to provide us with health care access. And healthcare access for so many families across this country is a matter of life or death. When I was growing up, my dad was sick with something called multiple myeloma. He got diagnosed with it when I was 10, and he died from it when I was a teenager. I learned about our healthcare system when I had to ask my dad what would happen if the healthcare insurance company said no, and he would just say, we'd have to figure something else out. That was the wrong answer then, and it's the wrong answer today.
Just FYI, I've told the story before, but when my mom got breast cancer, and we were waiting to hear like how she would be treated, what would be covered, etc. Fortunately, we most of it was covered because she was over 65 and had Medicare. But we were in the state of Florida, and basically like I can't remember which doctor, it might have been the surgeon, was talking about how like if she didn't have health insurance, she wouldn't qualify for Medicaid, because Medicaid is only for I think it's pregnant women, people with disabilities. Like it doesn't, there's no income limit for Medicaid in Florida, so like she wouldn't have been covered. And so like my mom was like, well, it's great that it was covered, but like if I was under 65, I wouldn't want you and your brother to go into debt for me. I would just go, I'd go back to my seat next to the Lord or whatever, I mean, she's very religious, so she's talking about how she'd just go to the Lord. And like the fact that we got lucky that she gets breast cancer, right? But we're lucky that it was after she was 65, because if not, my brother and I would have had to debate her into allowing us to go into debt to pay for her treatment.
We need systems in place that recognize that there are real lives that hang in the balance of the decisions we make and the systems we create or choose not to create. When it comes to mental health, that is an issue we've got to be serious about, because it is life or death. We've got to be investing in our school-based health clinics. We've got to put more funding behind mental health services and include it and expand it with the Affordable Care Act. That is what is required of this moment in order to keep our community safe.
Thank you. We will now move on to our next question. This question deals with youth employment and economic opportunities. We will begin with Mr. Menifee. What specific policies would you pursue to promote economic growth in District 18?
The most important thing to me is workforce development programs. When I go throughout the district and I talk to kids, many of whom have went off to college and have come back and have gotten a degree and ended up with sometimes 6 figures in debt, but they're in a job that in many instances is less than what their peers were making when they went straight out of high school and got into a workforce development program. I want to expand the number of workforce development programs that put people in the skilled trades. We know that right here in Houston, we're seeing a boom of the number of folks who are 10 to 17 years old, and at the exact same time, we have an extreme shortage of people who do the skilled trade jobs that if you work in it long enough, you can make $200,000 and take care of your family. We did that exactly in Harris County government. As your Harris County attorney, we rolled out millions of dollars to create an apprenticeship program in public entertainment, in transportation, and construction, to get people in those jobs, to teach them those skills so that they can go off, make money, and go back to the old American dream, which is be able to get the house, the 2 cars, send your kids off to do better than you do. Right now, we're telling every single kid the only way to be successful is to go to college. I want to change that by expanding those types of programs.
Well, first off, Donald Trump does not support any of the investment that needs to be done to fix this issue. We also know that the brainless Republicans that have been running this state for the last 30 years have been directly responsible for taking funding away for trades inside of our schools, and it's a problem. I will be immediately co-sponsoring the Jobs Act from Senator Tim Kaine to allow for Pell Grants, not just to be used at colleges and universities, but also for job trainings as well. They can use that for IT programs. They can use that for barbershop training. They can use that to absolutely go to places like HCC and go get job training. We have to be able to go get that done immediately. In addition to that, I also support making sure, because again, the biggest obstacle that we face is a filibuster. We have to get rid of the filibuster so we can get this bill across the finish line and infuse that funding directly into our community. We have right now one of the highest Gen Z unemployment rates in the history of the United States of America at over 10%. We know that less than 60% of the people that graduate from high school go immediately to full-time employment, the military, or a college or university. This Jobs Act will be able to fix that, and I look forward to getting that across the finish line when I get to Congress.
I'd like to build upon the point I made at the very beginning in terms of the beautiful statements by your members and in the introductions. I believe having a more collaborative dialogue and a more positive interaction as opposed to constantly bashing the other side will make a major difference in terms of achieving these essential goals. And I think that exists not only in a Washington context, but also dealing with our state elected leaders here in Texas, as well as in the business community, particularly in the context of entrepreneurship.
Maybe bring it up to your friend Trump,
and related programs. I believe there are many additional steps that can be taken, and having a more constructive dialogue as opposed to what we've seen in Washington over the last several weeks, I think only further underscores the stark contrast of what we've seen with respect to the terrific approach that we've heard from your members and the better approach that's possible going forward. Thank you.
I propose that we invest back into vocational programs for our students. I am a product of a vocational education school. And I went off to college my freshman year. Things didn't work out. But I had that vocational education that got me into the door of a state agency. I propose that we invest in what our kids are good at and what they like to do so we can motivate them and have a better curriculum for our students. More fundings for our students, for our teachers. And I went back and I got my graduate degree from my alma mater, Prairie View A&M University. So I suppose that we build on what our students love and what they're great at, and then we can go from there to making them the best productive individual that they can be by thinking inside, outside, and beyond the box.
Again, this is not about Washington. This is not about, trashing the other people. This is about you, the people of the 18th district. And I like that my ideas are so good that have been taken by my opponents. Since this race started.
Yeah, I didn't hear anyone else talk about extending recess. But also, just a reminder what the question was. The question was, what kind of investment are you going to do to stimulate the economy in the 18th district?
And since I ran for the first time in 2018, I've been saying that we need to bring back trade education into our high schools. So our kids, when they graduate from high school, already had a trade, especially in a city that have a long list of trade jobs that are not being able to be fulfilled. We need to implement after-school programs for our youth, because if they're busy, they're not joining crime or doing drugs. That's the way that we're going to secure better education for our youth, secure that they're going to have a job. Any later in life they want to go to college, they can do so. But the reality is not everybody is made for college. So we need to give that opportunity to our students. Thank you.
You said extending recess is such a beauty queen answer. Well, she's literally former Miss Venezuela, so...
Got on city council, I learned that Houston was ranked number 42 in venture capital investment in startups, which means we couldn't keep a startup here to save our lives. And so I rolled up my sleeves, put in a budget amendment, got to work creating a task force, and recommended strategies on what we could do here in Houston to make sure that we could be the community where the Gulf Coast and the world's future could meet. And one of the things we recommended was to create the Innovation District. So if you've heard of the ION, that's a product of our work. We have to be investing in our future and making sure that our kids are part of a pipeline that are prepared not just for the jobs of today. That's not good enough. We've got to be preparing our kids for the jobs of the future. And that means investing in our startups. That means investing in our schools, providing grant funding so that people have access to entrepreneurial opportunities just as well as jobs. We've got to do both and. They are not mutually exclusive. And we've got to invest also in making sure people are prepared for the workforce of today as well.
So when I was actually in undergrad, I kind of had a dilemma. I wanted to make money, but I had to go to school. And that was really tough for me. So Jim Brown, the great football player, and I would consider this a public-private partnership, and I think that's the key. But Jim Brown created a program through Texas Southern University where we could work on improving retention of students, but I could also, through work study, get paid $15 an hour. So for a couple of semesters, that kept me involved and kept me engaged in going to class, but also reaped rewards. It kept freshmen in school. And many of those freshmen we still have relationships with. They went on to become graduates. Some not. Some went on to work, become trade skill workers, lawyers, whatever they wanted to do. But I think the key is making sure we prioritize liberty, opportunity, and a free market for capitalism. When innovation is a priority, then you could have paid apprenticeships for young professionals. And the government can support those initiatives and give incentives to corporations to do so as well. So that's what it's about to me, apprenticeships and opportunity.
Thank you. We've now reached the point of our last question. This question talks about the future of education. And we're going to begin with, of course, Mr. Martin. What laws or actions would you support to help students in Congressional District 18 succeed in school? And how would you make sure that they are fair for everyone?
One of the biggest barriers that I see in our education system is a ridiculous and very dumb HISD takeover. It is the most shameful thing that we have seen. It is a deprivation of our voting rights in which they remove duly elected school board members to essentially go and install Greg Abbott's cronies. So immediately what I'm going to support is legislation working with folks like Congresswoman Kathy Castor in Tampa, Florida, who also experienced elected officials in her city being removed. I want to fully go and ban the practice of states removing elected officials just because they disagree with them. I do not think that's right. And immediately when we do that, I support making sure that there's more federal grant funding to do things like funding our trades inside of schools. It's very important. I want to help people when they want to go to college, make sure that college is a lot more affordable, installing to make sure that Pell Grants are a lot more, giving a lot more dollars directly to people. But again, I know I keep on going back to this, but we have to get rid of the filibuster. It is a thing that is blocking so many of the things we want to do. We can talk about issues all day that we want, but we have to get rid of the filibuster to make it happen.
Thank you.
So the process of education is increasingly being handled through, exactly as we've been discussing, through partnerships not only between state and federal. Increasingly much of this is always managed at the state level. And so I think this is another perfect example of what I'm highlighting in terms of having a more constructive dialogue and a better approach in terms of the partnerships between what we do on the federal level as well as in Washington. And again, I do not believe that this is having this more aggressive approach and constant conflict is going to be productive. And I think I fully agree with what George Foreman was saying in terms of public-private partnerships. I think this is absolutely essential, and I've been proud to work. I didn't know Tammy was a Prairie View A&M University student, but we partnered with them exactly as I'm saying, in a government to institution partnership, which we worked. Thank you.
We live in a country that sends trillions of dollars for a war instead of education. I propose that we bring back some of this money home. I propose that we create a learning environment for all backgrounds. I propose that we get tax breaks for our businesses, for our schools, that help educate our students so that they can prosper, because you know what? They are our future leaders, and they will be taking care of you and me. So I say that we put the funding back to education and not the funding to a war that promotes genocide.
The reality is public education is failing us, and we have seen it. So we need to invest more into public education. And as I said, we need to bring back trade education into our high schools. Another way to improve the education in our district is by taking advantage of opportunity zones. There is a lot of opportunity zones in our district that are there to attract investors. When we bring investors, that brings jobs. And with jobs, we get more housing. And with housing, we improve education. Also, there are billions of dollars lost. We're talking about $40 billion that were allocated of federal money for this district and this city. And I already have a bill ready to introduce in Congress to audit the city and the county to find that money, because that money is going to be dedicated to improve our infrastructure, fix the roads, to solve the problem of flooding, and to improve our education. Thank you.
I went from being one of 1,000 freshmen at Eisenhower High School in the Aldine Public School District to being a proud graduate of Harvard Law School. But that was in an era before the Project 2025 mandate to dismantle the Department of Education. We are living in different times, times in which we are now allowing our kids, our students, to be used as pawns and political chips in a political game. And our future and our kids, we cannot play games with their future. We have got to begin reinvesting in it. And that means properly funding our public schools. They have been attacked at the state level in terms of underfunding, but also at the federal level by dismantling the Department of Education and getting rid of key sources of federal resources available to our public schools. How else can kids survive and have success if they are not properly prepared for the jobs of tomorrow? And that happens through properly funding education.
So my mission when I get to Congress will be to represent the 18th Congressional District in the United States of America. Second to that, it will be to kind of keep America in its place when stepping into the 18th Congressional District. That will be very important to me. Now, what does that mean? Now, we have a war on poverty that went on in this country, and in that process, they created the Job Corps, the National Job Corps Association. That gave my father a trade skill and put my family in a position where we were making money instead of just trying to figure it out, trade skills. So what I would do in that position is making sure we double down on the role that America plays for the poor and to give opportunity to kids who are disadvantaged in our government, in our community, in our society. And that means giving opportunity where the state falls short, so you help. You don't overreach, you just help.
A good public school education changed my life. I have so many friends who ended up dead or in prison because they made a few bad decisions. And when I was headed down a bad way, it was joining the speech and debate team that put me on the trajectory to ultimately become a lawyer. And what we need in our schools is more programs that guide people to that type of future. That's why, as your Harris County attorney, I've created the Summer Legal Academy, where we take students from throughout the county and we put them in a 3-week experiential program. They get to meet lawyers, they get to meet judges, they get taught about the Socratic method, they get taught about the LSAT and applying to law school. And we're coming up on our first year where we're gonna have a student who's actually going to law school who was in high school when I first started. But we're doing every single thing we can to build those pipelines. That's the type of investment that we need in our schools. But it's also at the collegiate level. We've seen that our former president, Joe Biden, tried to put student loan forgiveness in place for people who are drowning under college debt. And that's why I was so proud to file a brief in that case to protect that forgiveness. But instead, we now have a president who is doing nothing on that front and is instead put a professional wrestler in charge of the Department of Education. You send me to Congress, I'm going to do every single thing I can to protect the Department of Education, to increase the number of those pipeline programs, and to make sure we invest in our students.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that now completes and concludes round one of our debate.
Thank you, candidates, for your responses in this first round.
Now we will transition to our lightning round. Will the team participants please make your way to the podium?
As a reminder, November 6th is the last day to vote. It's not too late to register. We have our voter registration officials on site in the foyer who can help you register today.
Yes. So make sure you get registered to vote. That's the only way you can do so. Also, the teens will now receive sample ballots courtesy of the Missouri City chapter of the Links Incorporated. This is not a complete ballot, but it will give the teens a little flavor. With that being said, let's take a 2-minute break and reset and get ready for our lightning round. You gonna turn this up to some gospel?
I think I'm gonna play Mario after this, y'all.
Back to the books because it's lightning. Really, really quick. Okay, I believe we have all of our candidates are back. Now it is time for the lightning round. Here's how this segment will work. We have 5 amazing teams who will each ask a question. Candidates, you will answer in a rotation order, and it's a lightning round for a reason. So that means your answers need to be quick, short responses are definitely required here. You will answer either with yes or no, and you will be giving 15 seconds to answer the questions from our teams. We will begin with Mr. Page.
Hello, my name is Jameson Whitley. I'm a teen in the Houston chapter of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. My question is, the Supreme Court recently allowed immigration stops based partially on race and language. Do you think Congress should take action to address concerns about people being stopped due to racial profiling?
Yes, there are additional actions which can be taken. That is a very complicated case that has hundreds of pages of briefs, but I believe there are additional steps which may be taken. Absolutely.
And what are they?
Yes, I think
He looks so proud of that answer.
I think we need to take it back to the community, and we need to have more police community, where the police go in the community and work with our youth, because a lot of them are having anxiety with our police. I think it's time for we.
Thank you.
Yes, more steps needs to be taken up. Racial profile should not be the way to be arresting anybody.
Yes, we must ban racial profiling in this nation, and we need to do that by codifying it into law.
Yes, I think our federal government should be setting the example of civil rights and civil procedure, and if any, perfect example of federal overreach. So the states are going to follow. The federal government should set the standard.
Yes, neither immigration officials nor police officers should be able to stop somebody just because they're black or brown.
Yes, absolutely, and I also support doing measures to get these conservatives off the Supreme Court, and that means term limits to the Supreme Court, and I proudly back that.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shelby Hunter, and I am also a teen in the Houston chapter of Jack and Jill. Do you think the U.S. government should do more control how AI is used, especially when it comes to privacy, spreading false information, and protecting original content?
We will begin with Mrs. Rochester.
Oh, yes, most definitely. I think cyberbullying is a big issue now. It's also causing our youth to be at risk for suicide and other mental health illnesses.
Definitely, we need to protect our people. AI is something new that we're all learning as we go. As a matter of fact, my new graduated law school daughter just joined a firm to work specifically in intellectual property that is going to deal with AI. Thank you.
We must put more protections in place for our youth to be safe from AI not being regulated properly enough. Things like deep fakes and other features can be things that require disclosure, and we've got to put that information out there and put the regulation in place.
Yes, we could do more, but I believe this is another opportunity for capitalism and the free market to be problem solvers. Government should not be leading that force, but incentivizing and rewarding the free market to solve these problems.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree with that. I think that the government needs to fully regulate AI, both on the privacy side, but also militarily. You're seeing a bunch of nations right now are leveraging AI to start to have killing forces, and I don't want to be in a situation where years from now we're wishing that we had stepped in and regulated it right now.
People are having their name, image, and likeness stolen all of the time. You should not have your face show up on some of these things that then go viral on social media. Personally, I think this is going to be a lot of work that we're going to have to do on this issue.
Yes, I agree with what George Foreman said, and I believe, and I've already been working on this in the context of the state and federal partnership. There's a lot being done here. There's a lot more that needs to be done, but it is a step-by-step process and a long journey for sure.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Theo Ferreira, and I'm an alum of Girls Inc. of Greater Houston. My question is, do you support federal policies aimed at making college and job training programs more affordable and accessible for all?
I start. As I've been saying since the beginning, we need to bring back trade education into our high schools. And also we need to talk about college education. We need to call the colleges and make them accountable, because it's not reasonable that when I went to school, it cost me $1,600 a year, and now we pay $60,000 or $80,000 a year.
Thank you.
Yes, we need to be providing more access and gateways for education. And in order to do so, we need to make sure higher ed is affordable, that we are providing loan forgiveness as was done in the as was attempted in the Biden administration as well.
Yes, we could do a lot more, setting the example for workforce development. This is why I'm just going to double down on the Job Corps. Job Corps sends people to college. Job Corps sends people to corporations. And more than anything, Job Corps is for the poor.
Yes, college is way too expensive right now, as is grad school. I came out of law school with over $200,000 in debt, and I can tell you right now, I did not get $200,000 worth of education.
Yes, I support tuition-free community college so you don't have to pay. I will co-sponsor the Jobs Act so that you can use Pell Grants to go forward and go get this training yourself. In addition to that, I believe the trade should go back into schools fully.
Yes, I agree that a lot more can be done, but there is a tremendous amount of detail that goes into this legislation, which I've worked on at quite some length, and I believe we have a number of proposals in play which could really make a difference. Thank you.
Yes, I believe not only should we have vocational programs in high school, we should have it in junior college that's free, and invest in businesses that hire our students for internships that they pay our students to attend.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Logan Scott. I am a Jack and Jill teen and this year's teen nominating chair. My question for you guys is, do you consider climate change to be a serious issue that needs federal action?
100%. We live in a region that has experienced some of the worst catastrophes in history, namely Harvey and others. So we have got to be in the business of preventing these storms from occurring through investing in climate change and putting in the right regulations to stop it.
Well, I think more than anything, climate resilience needs to be a priority. I think our environment is trying to kill us constantly. That's why we learn how to be resilient in what we build. So climate resilience and energy resilience to make sure an all the above strategy welcomes opportunity and solutions.
Yes, when I was growing up, you didn't have a 1 in 500 year storm every 3 years where people are dying, they're losing their property, they're losing their dignity. The federal government needs to take meaningful action, and Donald Trump has taken us exactly the opposite direction.
Donald Trump clearly doesn't. I certainly do believe that climate change is an issue. We need to re-enter the Paris Climate Accords. We absolutely need to go put more funding towards hydrogen development. We absolutely need to go and build our charging network out. We actually have to build it. Work with local governments to go and get the hurdles done to actually get that into the ground. I'll work to do that when I'm in Congress.
Thank you.
Yes, and the transition, which was done with the natural gas revolution with the gentleman, George P. Mitchell, here in Houston, was really a driver of that, and there's a lot more that needs to be done. We're making great progress in this regard, and I think there's big steps to come. Thank you.
Yes, if we don't get this issue resolved, we'll have another decade of climate issues, and also our infrastructure is making us sick. It's making the people sick mentally, physically, psychologically, and emotionally. We need a change.
Yes, and we need to keep on working in new forms of energy that are more effective and less pollutant. As you know, the increased regulation first, hurt our community because prices goes up. And of course, as you know, Houston is the number 1 city in poverty.
Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon.
Yes, comma, and then things that are the opposite of yes. Actually incoherent.
My name is Tatum Sales. I'm a teen in the Houston chapter of Jack and Jill, and I would like to ask, do you support federal legislation regulating name, image, and likeness rights for student athletes?
Absolutely not. I think students are free. There should be no regulation on how their access to making money when they're in the free market. I think sports is a free market example. You get to be an individual on the field. And if there's an opportunity for you to make money, you should go and get it every chance you get.
I respectfully disagree with that. I think that too many students are being taken advantage of. A lot of these negotiations happen in the dark. There needs to be transparency, and you need collective bargaining rights for the students. You can't expect an 18-year-old to be in a position to negotiate a good deal without help.
Universities are making billions of dollars off of college athletics. It's very clear. I think that it's finally time for athletes to get paid. Imagine if Jalen Rose could have got paid all those years ago from being in the Fab Five. I absolutely support name, image, and likeness and the ability for student athletes to get paid.
Yes, I believe steps can be taken, but there are serious challenges with such types of regulations, and it's probably going to be more burdensome for the students themselves. But I think more can be done. Thank you.
Yes, I support the NIL. I think it helps athletes to be able to pay for their education, also to be a sponsor in the community for our kids.
You speak too low. Can you please repeat the question a little higher?
Yes. Do you support the federal legislation regulating name, image, and likeness rights for student athletes?
I think you are entitled, after you invest so much time into your sport, to make money out of it, since the colleges are so expensive. I don't believe in any regulations on that, and that's what you have your parents for. They will guide you the right way into those agreements. Thank you.
For many young athletes, they do need help when they are in need of NIL efforts, and so we need to make sure that the proper regulations are in place for contract negotiations, but also that there are a common set of laws. Right now, it's a hodgepodge from state to state, and NCAA does not get to regulate, for example, and we've got to be in the business of making sure there's clarity and predictability with the NIL rules.
Thank you.
All righty, and that concludes, of course, our lightning round. Let's give all of our candidates a round of applause. Now, earlier you heard me do this impression that I hear every single Sunday. It's good morning. I know you know it. Well, guess what? He's in the building. Let's give a huge round of applause to our pastor. Pastor Crosby's in the building. I tried, Pastor. I tried. I did the best good morning that I could. It's good afternoon now. Well, of course, again, thank you to our candidates for answering very briefly in that speed round. We will now get to our closing remarks from each of our candidates, and we're going to begin in reverse order this time. And remember, you have 1 minute to deliver your closing statements, and we will begin with Mrs. Rochester.
I believe that the people should be first, and I believe that we are tired of being thrown under the bus. We're tired of our communities being gentrified, and poverty and housing and economic disparities being covered up. I think it's time for a change, and I am here for the hardworking professional people. We want real solutions to real problems. Our politicians are telling us what they've done, what they want to continue to do, and we still don't see the change. We want the change.
Mr. Martin?
Part of the reason why I think that our country is in this mess is because we don't tell it like it is. We got Republicans trying to destroy everything we've got, and I think that the real quest in front of us is whether or not we're going to stand up and absolutely do something about this. We know that Washington, D.C. is not like the city, it's not like the state, it's not like the county, it's Washington, D.C. I got real federal experience of understanding how that works, working with Congresswoman Jackson Lee as her senior advisor. And it's because of that knowledge of how we've been able to build so much momentum in this race. The largest campaign finance fundraising quarter in the history of the 18th Congressional District. 35,000 people chipping in an average of $19 a person. It's that momentum that we want to use to continue our way to the United States Congress to deliver for you instead of the few. And as your congressman, I'll get that done.
Mr. Menifee.
I spent the past 4 years of my life as your county attorney fighting for you every single day. When Donald Trump came out here and tried to cut a $10 million health care program, I beat him in court, and that program was restored. When Ken Paxton came out here and tried to get more than 2,000 of our legally cast ballots thrown out, I beat him in court, and every single one of those votes was counted. Look, right now across this country, what you're seeing is folks are calling out for the exact same thing. They want someone who is going to stand up and who's going to fight and who's going to win for our communities. They're tired of Democrats, this is folks in my party, not having a backbone, not standing up and saying the tough things, but putting in the work to deliver for our communities. That's exactly what I've been doing for the past 4 years. I want to go to Congress not to go viral, not to be a celebrity, not to be famous, but to put in the work every single day for our communities. That's what I've been doing for the past 4 years, and you have my commitment that when I go to Congress, I'm going to work full days, full weeks to deliver for you every single day. Christian.
Do you think that was a shot at Isaiah? I'm curious. I mean, listen, respect. If these are the top two candidates, then you gotta try to differentiate yourself, right?
I want to go to Congress not to go viral, not to be a celebrity, not to be famous, but to put in the work every single day for our communities. That's what I've been doing for the past 4 years, and you have my commitment that when I go to Congress, I'm going to work full days, full weeks to deliver for you every single day. Christian Menifee, and I'm so grateful y'all had me here today.
Ms. Edwards.
8 years ago, Harvey struck our community, and I'll never forget when I had to roll up my sleeves and get to work and mobilize hundreds of people and visit hundreds of our most vulnerable residents to get them the help that they needed. The first thing they would always ask me is, what are you doing here? And I'd explain to them, I'm your city council member, I'm here to help. And then they'd ask this, but wait a minute, are you up for re-election already? And I bring that up only to say that we have a democracy that isn't working well for people. You see, we've got to do better than knowing your name and your issues when it's campaign season alone. We've got to be in the business of delivering for people and delivering the change that they're looking for and deserve. That is what is required in this moment, is to put someone in place who has a bold vision for our future and the experience and know-how to get it done. I have rebuilt homes as your city council member. I have worked to revitalize our communities. I have helped to provide access to health care and economic opportunity for our communities, and will do so as your next Congresswoman. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from Mr. Foreman.
So as I leave here today, I just want to thank you, the parents and the students of the Jack and Jill organization, for allowing us to come here and speak, give our platform. And I would like you to honor me, those of you who can vote, those of you who soon can vote in the future, pray for me. But more than anything, let's do better. We deserve better. I've been with the nonprofits who have tried to fix the problems while government did what governments do and shut down. But we had to do it ourselves. The great Mickey Leland said, as to use it in his own words, there is no justice, there's just us. And when I get to the federal government, I will make sure that the nonprofits, the city leaders, the community centers are back at the forefront of problem solving. We, the people of the United States of America, that's what it's about. And it's time to put we, the people, at the forefront of the problem solvers, the young entrepreneurs, the young innovators. You are going to solve the problems of the future, so you need the tools of the future. And I'm here to make sure you have them, because I've been in the classrooms watching you suffer from the lack of resource, lack of opportunity, lack of support. I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from Ms. Montiel.
Thank you. I am not a politician like most of my contenders. I'm a server. I have created foundations to help pediatric hospitals, have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for this city to help many in need. I'm a real estate broker that knows about housing. I have worked in healthcare. I'm here to serve you because I see the needs our district and our city has. For 30 years, this district has been neglected. What have changed in the last 5 years, 10 years? We need to stop this lying and saying the same things like a broken record. Every time you come. Let's work about the plan. The plan is bring back trade education, use opportunity jobs to bring opportunity zones to bring jobs. That will bring housing, more jobs, and education. Let's invest in our children, not only in education, but after school programs, so they do not do drugs or join crime. Vote for me and let's start the change. Thank you.
Don't join crime. Chat.
Mr.
Don't join
Page.
crime.
Thank you. And once again, I really want to thank the organization and each of the organizations and for really driving, setting a positive example. I believe there is serious issues right now in terms of the collaboration, not only at the federal level between Democrats and Republicans, but also with our other elected officials here in Texas and between federal, state, and local. There's a lot more that can be done, and we're really on the cusp of some serious changes. I believe, and I have been deeply involved in many of almost each of the issues which were raised in this context, going back several decades. And I believe building upon that experience, but also the experience of having felt the harsh force of federal government and the invasive steps, I think is a step forward in a way of building upon that. So thank you again.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give your candidates a round of applause for Congressional 18th District. It has been a true pleasure, honor, and privilege to serve you all in this capacity as your moderator today. I have had an amazing time here with you and can't wait to see what the future holds. I also want to add as well, let's give a round of applause to all of our youth in the building because they are the methods of the madness and also the curators of the questions that you all heard for today. We ask that all of our candidates remain on stage, of course, for that closing photo that we're going to take, and we're going to deliver this service back in the hands of our amazing teens.
Good afternoon. I'm Harrison Hadnot.
And I'm Talon Sales. On behalf of the teens of the historic Houston chapter of Jack and Jill of America, we thank the candidates and everyone who joined us for this important conversation. Special thanks to the KTSU and the Vibe for broadcasting and live streaming today's debate. And to our amazing special guest moderator, Taylor Getwood. We would like to thank each of our community partners again for their support. Girls Inc. of Greater Houston, the Texas Spring Cypress chapter of the Links, Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, and the Social Justice Ministry, the Missouri City chapter of the Links, the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Houston, and the Argentina, James, and Hilde Public Relations.
We probably don't have to watch this part, sorry. Yeah, I think we're gonna play some Mario tonight. I really don't want to talk about politics.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the live on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch can keep going. I'm going to end the live on YouTube and TikTok and then restart on YouTube so that the video is just Mario. And then for TikTok, I'm going to go live on my non-politics account. You remember the @ okay. I'm gonna go live on my non-politics account for Mario. Oh, sorry, caffeine. So we're gonna be doing a Dan raid on No Politics Dan. Blue coins, here we come. Okay. I'm also probably gonna use the restroom. So YouTube and TikTok, give me like 3-4 minutes to restart. Twitch, y'all can hang out. The Twitch exclusive benefit, you get to watch my chair as I use the restroom. So thank you, KP. Shout out to Wait. Okay, so now I'm not sure if KP is reminding us for everybody's sake or because KP got first, but shout out to KP, Adela, and Ty Baby. Thank you so much for being the top 3 likers. Okay. I will be. Probably just a coincidence. Yeah, probably. Okay. I forgot how to end live. There we go. All right. See y'all soon. YouTube. I'm going to reset.